Jurassic Park.
We know how well that went. But what if someone like you had been there?
Hello, I am Couch and it's with great pleasure that I bring you my Jurassic World Evolution 2 video. A hell of a journey for me when it comes to this game, its arrival on Game Pass and its predecessors, and of course the Jurassic Park game franchise in general. I was lucky enough to see the film on release in the UK as a kid, as a little boy, and if you had come up to me, tapped you on the shoulder in the queue and said, this is kind of as good as it gets when it comes to dinosaur films, or like you're not going to see another good dinosaur film in like 30 years near on. Wow, Jurassic Park, the original, was a groundbreaker, and I just thank the stars that I was young enough to really appreciate what I was seeing and went into the cinema with no expectations whatsoever, and it was just jaw slacking. I'll never forget coming out of the cinema after seeing it. That and the Transformers original cartoon at the cinema were two of my greatest early cinema memories.
The connections between the past and the present sharpen, and along with it, our understanding.
Jurassic Park as a video game series has some quite good stuff in its backlog. The SNES game was very good. There's also been some misses, and just with all sort of older film franchises, they were kind of attacked full on when it came to timescale and getting the software out with the film release. So it was all semi-shovelware, but there were some cool things in there. But my point is, a bit like the Aliens franchise, it was never really that good of an experience when it came to the gaming and this subject. But this, what we're looking at, is very different, and it's leaning more towards a lot of the theme park simulators and RTS, and almost like a Pokemon management of Tamagotchi-like dinosaurs, and that's what we're going to look at here. There's a really good meta game next to the park building aspect. Let's talk game modes very quickly, because I put a post out about this the other day and a lot of people are like, I'm not getting on with it very well, not gelling with it. What happens is there's a campaign which kind of acts as a tutorial. Now it forces this strange take control mechanic. What that means is when you drive the Jeep around or when you're in the helicopter, you can go into like first person view and control it yourself. It doesn't look good and it's not the best management system. It's just one of those fun aspects. A bit like Dungeon Keeper, where you get to see things through the eyes of whatever NPC is doing that task. It's a cool idea, but it doesn't help you from a management level. You need to be up in the sky and looking at your whole park from a distance, and that is best experienced in the Sandbox Mode. But back to that campaign, it is a really cool idea, and it should be looked at for a couple of hours because there's a hell of a lot of mechanics behind the scenes that you need to know about that won't necessarily be thrown up to you when you get into that sandbox on your own.
Asset transported.
You've also kind of got to decide what you want from the game. Personally, I want to see as many dino species as possible within my park, so I want to do the whole exploration, grabbing fossils, getting genetics and then pumping them into a hatchery and giving me cool variants on skin type, think arc, and then seeing all of that come to fruition, which dinosaurs socialize with each other and what happens when things go wrong. And things going wrong in the game is purposely positioned, and it's incredible. The dinos do want to break out, they get ailments, they'll fight. There's a lot of management around that, and your poor little NPCs have to go and check on them, and if you're watching closely you see some hilarious unfold because they'll just get attacked or the Range Rover will get tipped over. There's a lot of little unscripted events happening on a very micro level when you take the time to look around your park. So back to that original point about what you want from the game, you can also lean on sort of building and expanding a consumer-friendly park, which is a stage I've not even got to yet. I'm too enveloped in developing and looking at these new dinosaur species. And this also brings me on to something called Chaos Mode, which is scenarios, missions almost, that pay direct homage to the awesome landscapes from the original films and the new films. And that also trickles down into what building types you have. You can switch them out to which film you want it aesthetically to obey.
So if we're to get the dinosaurs we want, we first need a hatchery.
I'm also a bit of a paleo geek, and I'm quite into that recent research about the T-Rex zoo and the position of the eyes, how that they've realigned it all, and how a lot of newer dinosaur designs are very different from 30, 40 years ago. And of course, I'm trying to ride that ITV Plus Attenborough popularity wave, because that looks incredible. I haven't got to it yet. The whole thing's just bowling into an awesome experience. Before I forget, I need to mention the voice acting. They've got guests from the films, including that bird from Black Mirror.
Call the fucking supervisor.
Okay, that's profanity.
And the game lets you explore some of the fantasy dino designs and breeds. So you've got more than enough to be working with just on the dinosaur breeding aspect. Let's talk about the in-game dinosaurs themselves, because this is easily my favourite part by a long stretch. And it's one thing breeding a dinosaur and looking at it in the bestiary, but it's another thing seeing how it works in its environment, how to make it happy, what it does when it's comfortable, its different movement animations, and just how natural they look in the environment. I want to cover that this is on medium settings only. When it was on high, it kind of would slam into huge frame dips when loading in a base, strange areas of low performance, so that's not too good a sign. Frame rates are in the top right. It did recognise my monitor at 75 Hz per second. But my point being, this goes to super high, and I'm on a 1660, so it's not exactly big rig material. But for the settings I've got it on and the hardware I'm using, it's a beautiful game. So the management, let's talk about that now, because some of it I can work with and some of it is just too much plate spinning going on. When you play that campaign, you'll kind of get really deep into a part that's going completely tits up, i.e. there's a dinosaur that's broken out, they're all ill, all your staff are pissed off with you, you've run out of money, there are no toilets, and you're like, holy shit, this is not fun. The Sandbox Mode, however, is awesome. It allows a lot of sliders to choose your map, which are unlockable depending on how well you do in some of the challenges, so there's incentive there to go to either mode to get more to play with. And once you understand the system of automated task allocation to all of your NPCs, you can really sit back and watch the whole part run itself, and it's awesome. Seeing the guys rescue a dino that's escaped, deal with an ailment, or even something as simple as the arrival of a new dino that you've researched, got the bits from the fossils, got the eggs going, and then transported into a tailor-made pen, only to realise that they all fall out with each other and your fences aren't strong enough. And that brings me on to the ownership angle. They've just nailed it. You feel personally connected with a lot of the dinos that you've put into the pens. You've got a really cool camera mode that allows you to sort of ride with them, and just watching the mischief that they get up to is hours of fun. Check out the Jeep nearly running over the park goers, and of course these guys just wait until the Jeep's on its way out before getting up to their usual. And that's another thing about the Sandbox Mode, is you can toggle on or off these ailments, storms, things that really throw a spanner into your calm, normal park everyday life. And that's half the fun, is dealing with a massive problem. And I think recreating also certain scenes from the film franchise, like the T-Rex getting out in the original park and there's raptors everywhere, you really start getting feels all over again for how amazing those original films were. So that roller coaster park, that skylines, a lot of these city builders and theme park builders are amazing, and it's a whole genre that I don't choose to step into. I was into it a long time ago when The Sims started out, but this area is massive, and you can lose yourself in just keeping your little citizens happy, making sure they've got hot dogs to buy, putting little statues down and creating viewing platforms. And I've not even got to aqua dinos or avian or flying dinos. I've also sort of saved one of the best things till last, and it's the dino on dino interactions. You do have some information on a breed when you put it into a pen about what it can cooperate with, but a lot of the time you don't bother reading that and you just want to see how it all pans out. And I was like, oh my god, there's something happening in the corner here. Man, I was just like, this game has given me so much more than I expected. including death of me dinos. You have to extract the body. It's tragic. And that's just another door opened to another room of exploration for me, where I'm going to start mixing and matching all the carnivorous dinosaurs just to see who comes out on top. Man, there's some war going on in my park. So is this the best Jurassic Park game that's out at the moment? Yeah, I kind of think it is. It does lack that platforming, shooting, maybe first person angle that you might see in a game like Turok or anything else, because it's a park management game / real-time strategy. It is very different to what I'm normally used to when it comes to playing a Jurassic game, but man, this was perfect, and I really feel that we're finally getting some decent video games off a film that came out sort of well over 25 years ago.
Jurassic Park.
I, of course, have been Couch Coop, and we do have some more split screen and couch co-op content on the way, and as always, I'll see you down there.